I think I'll just hold it. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Well, this is a tough lineup to clean up for. So I want to tell you about a fictional romance that kept me out of some real trouble. When I was 16, I was involved in a fictional romance, as many 16-year-old girls can be, with a boy who it had been a real romance at one point, but what with one thing and another, it was no longer a real romance on his side. I didn't get that memo. I just thought, he was gonna get with the program eventually. He was gonna understand that I was the one. So in the course of this whole situation, my family's job situation was such that we ended up leaving Kansas, where the love of my life, my one chance at romance and happiness lived. We were going to leave Kansas and be dragged to Hawaii. Mother, how could you do this to me? You must hate me. I have to go to Hawaii. Oh, it's so awful. So, here I am in Hawaii, such a drag. It's mean parents. And I don't really, I can't have any fun because I don't want to be here. So it's not fun. It's not going to be fun. I'm not going to have any fun. But at the same time, I am 16. And I'm very into, I really like boys. So, I was, honestly, I did get a couple of opportunities and I did take them. But even though my heart was in Kansas the whole time. So this is the thing. My first opportunity, the first dating opportunity I had, was a guy that I worked with. And I still remember his name because it was the same name as my dad, which was a little creepy, but whatever. And he was a little older than I was. I was, let's review, 16, and he was probably about, 25, as far as I could tell. Translation, like really old and grown up and, not relatable in any way. Except that he went to church, and I was new in town, and I was into finding a church, and he invited me to his church, and so, okay, I'll go to your church, that's great. So, I getting ready to go to his church, get in his car with his family, and it suddenly dawns on me that I'm not just visiting his church. I am, in fact, on a date, and I'm not just on a date, I'm on a tryout with his mom and his dad and his brothers and his sisters and his cousins and his aunts and, all the 50 people that go to this church with him. Oh, you're Margaret. See, I knew him from work. He didn't even know my real name. And, you're Margaret. We've heard so much about you. And Everett is so this, and he's so that, and he's going to be a pastor, and and I'm like, I'm 16, and I'm really not about this. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so no. So that was not the church that I ended up attending when I stayed in Hawaii. So I was later invited out on a boat by a guy who was really, truly, probably about 40 years old. So he was, he had a boat. We were going to sail in Pearl Harbor. I was not going to say no to the opportunity to sail in Pearl Harbor, no matter how strange the situation might be. So, we went out, we went on the boat. That relationship sort of evolved into these kind of group outings, and that was fine as far as it went. My third opportunity to go out was with this really attractive, if you like this sort of thing, surfer. Very blonde, like blonde eyelashes, just out in the sun all the time. And this was the late 70s. So, what is this guy into? Well, I just like to keep it mellow. I just like to really be mellow. And so I'm trying to talk to him and I was this, my father was a professor, I was this little intellectual. And so I'm trying to talk to him about different things and issues and, I don't really like to judge. And he's just giving me nothing. We're driving around in his truck and there's just nothing coming back. So I don't know, what are we going to talk about? So I start talking to him about the love of my life, who is in Kansas, and this relationship, and I mean, at least he can understand that, I guess. I don't know, I'm just scrambling for something, and so I'm telling him all about this boy, and how it didn't work out, but it's going to work out because he's the one, and so we're driving around in his truck, and anyway, the evening finally ends, thank God. And he says, so do you usually spend your whole dates talking to guys about another boy? Like, well, worked for you. So, so I got out of that situation pretty quickly, and that is how a completely fictional romance saved me from being married to 50 Polynesians, going out with some truly creepy old man who thought it was appropriate to date 16-year-old girls, or having a probably very ill-fated and pointless relationship with a surfer who didn't have 2 brain cells to rub together. So, thank you, pretend boyfriend of 16.
Thanks, everybody.